So, introduce yourself and what you're known for.
Right. So hello, my name is T1MURE or T2MURE. Nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Uh, and I'm mostly known for my YouTube channel, T2MURE, where I talk about Counter-Strike, mostly its maps and the level design behind them, stuff like that. Um, and also, I would say that maybe even before that, I was kinda sort of not really known, but like as an admin of the mapping Discord server, which is the second biggest Counter-Strike mapping related Discord.
Oh, as that's
Uh,
Mapink, right?
yeah,
Okay.
so that also might be something. But yeah, I think that's the two biggest ways some people
Okay.
can know me from.
Cool. I guess from here I'll like I've said I'll adapt some questions to context. So firstly, when did you start playing Counter-Strike and what made you specifically interested in mapping?
Oh, okay, so that's easy. So Counter-Strike, I think I started playing Counter-Strike 1.6 maybe when I was, I don't know, 7 years old, 8.
Wow.
Yeah, probably not the best age for this kind of games, at least
Mm-hmm.
that's what they say. But the funny thing is that like I think I started playing Counter-Strike because of maps, because in Counter-Strike 1.6 there's like no single player option, and for the longest time I would just like log on and explore the maps like just alone, like without bots, because
Mm-hmm.
there's no like inbuilt bots, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel comfortable connecting to any multiplayer servers, so I didn't have internet connection at the time. So like for me, actually that was like a common thing, even not even only with Counter-Strike, but Counter-Strike, Team Fortress, all of the Source games, I just liked logging on and exploring the maps. And that's kind of I feel like the most interesting part to me. Like of course enjoy the gameplay and all of
Mm.
the other aspects, but from very early on, I was into maps. I liked exploring other people's maps, like exploring official maps. And I was already like from age 8 or something inspired to make my own maps
Wow, okay.
for all sorts of games. Yeah.
That's so cool. What games?
So I think I think the Minecraft probably would be the very first one because
Yeah,
like
me too.
making a map for Minecraft is like so much more straightforward like in your mind than for any other game. Like it just like that's kind of what the whole game is built around. But also any game that had a level editor or any type of like straightforward mapping compatibility, I would try to make some levels for it. A lot of Flash games had level editors back in the day. Like I would spend hours on them. But yeah, I think when I was like 14 or 15, I bit the bullet and took some
Mm-hmm.
time to actually learn Source and started making maps for CS:GO as well,
What's your
which was
sorry,
yeah.
sorry. What's your opinion of Hammer 1?
Um, okay, so if in general context or in comparison to Hammer
Just
2,
like yeah, in comparison to Hammer 2 would be quite funny. I know that
or
they're very different.
actually I think it's called Hammer 5
Hammer
officially.
5,
I'm not sure.
Source 2.
Yeah. Yeah, source two basically, yeah. So how I would put in my mind the difference between source one and source two is source one is kinda like Minecraft in many regards, is that you make like blocks and everything is made like out of solid shapes more or less.
Mm-hmm.
While source two, how I feel about it is like an origami where
Lots of
you
culling.
take yeah, you take like a basically flat plane and you like turn and twist it around into a shape. And because of this difference, I feel like Source 1, even though it's janky and had a lot of problems, I feel like people have a much easier time of understanding like how Source 1 works, kind of like Minecraft. You just place blocks and it kind
Mm,
of makes sense. And what is solid is solid. While in Source 2, it's like a lot of
it's like
like
yeah,
shapes, manipulating
yeah,
shapes,
and you're
negative
you're
space, flipping
secretly
faces.
inside a big
Yeah.
room with a fake sky the whole time and all that stuff.
Yeah, so but yeah, so Hammer 1 I think is amazing because I, as someone who already used Source 2 for a while, I know how bad was Hammer 1 and how great is Source 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at the time where it was popular, and it still is relatively popular source, I think it's one of the reasons for that was because it was, even though it was janky and had lots of issues, it was just so straightforward to get into and understand it, like what's going on there. It was just you place blocks and everything makes sense. So I think it was great in that regard, but yeah, lots and lots and lots of technical issues all the time, everywhere in all of its aspects. Like you needed to have like a wiki pulled out for literally every other thing you do, because you
Jeez.
would get a crash and a bug like at any single point for no reason at all.
Yeah, it's like that for Radgen for me at the moment, but I have the benefit of being able to speak to Angel and Jim as well, and they've helped me like so much. So Radgen has really been one of the biggest hurdles for me in Hammer at all. Um, but yeah, there
Yeah,
is
it's
a lot
yeah.
of jank.
The Yeah, in CS:GO before Source 2 there was it wasn't by Angel and Jim Wood, there was Tar, which was
Mm-hmm.
Terry's Auto Radar, and it worked pretty much the same way as the Radeon, even worse because like you have no preview and no like
Mm.
a lot of the quality of life features. And the best part about it was that he released it for everyone, but then at some point he decided that he's no longer comfortable with people using it, and so he
Oh,
deleted like it off GitHub and everywhere. And
wow.
people would just like scour around asking, "Does anyone have like a working version I can borrow?"
That's
Stuff like
crazy.
that. Yeah,
Um,
the things were rough back then.
so with Source 2, what would you say is your favorite part of the map making process?
Okay, so that's here I have. I'm not sure. Actually, I haven't asked that other mappers this question, so I'm not sure how
Mm-hmm.
much of a hot take what I'm about to say is.
Okay, I'm interested.
But yeah, so my hot take is that I like when making the map, I more so like editing an existing map rather than creating like an entirely new one.
Mm.
So for example, like not saying like okay, for example, I was making a map. I
Mm-hmm.
made it. I made the first couple of versions, but then I get into playtesting and making the smaller adjustments based on
Right.
feedback and thinking about it after it already like exists in players' minds
Mm-hmm.
and in the world is so much more fun. And I feel so much better about it. Like it feels just makes a lot more sense than kind of shooting building new stuff, not
Mm.
knowing anything about it, shooting your shot in the air, like thinking, well, where will it land? Will players like it? Will not? That's also very interesting, but I feel like the more concrete environment of knowing, okay, last time I tested it, players behave like that. What do I do to change the behavior? That like feels so much more concrete and interesting to me.
I
So that I would say my favorite
hmm.
part is. Sorry for cutting you. Yeah.
I get that impression because I was watching your second video about your map, Bergain, um
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Lenmo contest, and I could tell you like most of that video is you honing in on those little notes that people had, and then also going in and changing things that no one had mentioned, and just things you had noticed. And I thought that was really cool, and it's actually that's like the thing that was like, damn, I really should talk to this guy. Um,
Oh
so
yeah, I absolutely love it. Yeah, if I can even add, uh, back in the day I had if you know Freaklix Philip,
oh,
back
of
in the
course,
day yeah I had the opportunity where he was hosting community maps and I got two of my maps hosted on his servers
that's so
and
cool.
and while it was happening I had my maps on there for 2 weeks. I would update them 4 times a day, I think. If yeah, and like what I learned from this experience is that once again, I don't like creating a new lane. I
Mm.
don't like coming up with something big or whatever. But like I would literally one version I would update. I would just move one crate like over by 64 units, and it would have like such a profound impact. It's like and not none of the players on an
Yeah,
individual level would notice this, but if you
no.
look all over it like as a crowd, like and what dynamics it creates, like I'm 100% convinced that the real mapping is in these smaller
Mm.
adjustments.
I have a version of Hay Fever on the back burner that I forgot to update before the interviews, but I'm just gonna leave it as is. I think it'll be better that way. Um, but to build off of that question, then what's probably your least favorite part of the map making process? What makes you roll your eyes?
Well, I think the common answer here would be either detailing or optimization.
Mm-hmm.
So detailing is just it's straightforward because it just requires the most amount of effort for least amount of result. Like the same amount of time that takes me to create a brand new map would take a modeler to create like one single prop for a
Right,
finished map.
totally.
Like all of the textures, normal maps, modeling, whatever. I have no idea how these people stay sane. God bless their soul. Honestly, I just and another one would be optimization. In Source 2, it's much better because I feel like the game itself is just more demanding, so people have less expectations for it to like still run on potato PCs. But I remember
Yeah.
back in CS:GO, that was like also a huge part. You need to go over every single object and make it fade out at a certain distance and add like hints because Source 1 doesn't understand what rendering is, stuff like that. That also was super annoying. But and that's the common answers, but also I
Mm.
would add that I feel like the very first steps of creating a new map can also be very annoying because, like, for example, you have an idea for a bomb site or an area, you create it, you feel super inspired, but then
Mm.
like you have some parts where you like need to, okay, what now? I've
Yeah.
I put already all of my inspiration in the parts that I was inspired for, but I still need to have all of those like connecting technical parts, and then it
Yeah.
also can get a little bit annoying. But
But
yeah, I think the yeah.
for context on the maps that come up in one of the later questions that I got you to look at, those first two were absolutely fell victim to that exact problem. It was both me realizing my lack of skill at the time and also me being like, oh my god, I do not want to have to remake everything on this map 7 times. Um, and I know that's going to be such a big hurdle for me on this project. Because like with Lego, I can build until it's right, and if something's wrong, I can just remove the relevant pieces. But at least with my current process, which is probably wrong, is it feels like I've got the map to a point where it's fun, I enjoy playing it, and then like going through and even like slightly updating the geometry to be more in line with how CS:GO looks or how CS looks. And it's just like, oh, painful.
Yeah, it's definitely a big question that especially newer map makers get to some point where you are creating a map, you feel good about it, but then you realize that from the point that you started creating to now, there was like a skill difference. You improved.
Yeah.
And now the question is would it be worth to keep improving, trying to improve this layout that you already know that is flawed because you were less skilled back
Mm-hmm.
then? Or should you spend even more time on creating a new one, which hopefully would be better? And that's like a very difficult balance to hold, I feel like, for a lot of people.
It definitely, yeah. It's probably why there's such a big gap in the like. There's a lot of people making maps, and then obviously there's all the slop on the workshop right now, and it feels like
Yeah.
part of that is probably because it doesn't take effort to make that slop. That's the whole point. It's like less than effort. Um, and
Oh yeah, it's
I
just
do
like
wish that people would. Sorry,
yeah. Keep going.
I do
Yeah.
wish that people would branch out a little bit more and go outside their comfort zone, because even a bad map on the workshop is better than what we're getting right now a lot of the time.
Oh yeah, definitely. I honestly, I would say I a lot of times enjoy the quote unquote bad maps even
Mm,
more than the quote unquote good ones, because it, even if the map is really bad, like it gives me like something to think about it. Like I would say the biggest crime a map can commit is being boring.
yeah.
So for example, if you know Ancient,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Ancient hater because that to me is one of the least inspired maps in the whole history of the whole
It
game.
is very Dust 2.
Yeah, but it's not even about it being very Dust 2, but like there's so much about it. I can go like on a whole rant, but it's because like also the map it was based off originally in CS:GO and like back
Mm-hmm.
in CS 1.6 and all of that stuff was Aztec, and that was like a super imaginative map with like huge holes, like bridges, whatever.
Yeah.
And so what the story is, from what I understand, is that they started remaking it and then realized that it's not really competitive, it doesn't really work out, and they just butchered it and created like another Dust 2 style layout.
Hmm.
And I don't have anything personally against Dust 2, but just like the idea itself that they like tried to remake an older map and instead
Mm-hmm.
of like with all of the other ones trying to actually put some effort and improving it and reworking it, they just gave up and like, okay, we'll do another Dust 2. That just like is an insult to me, feels like.
Yeah.
Uh,
To be fair to Dust 2, I think the only problem with that really is people. Um,
yeah,
that's where Dust 2 falls the flattest for me, is the people that I end up queuing with. But
I honestly have been playing much less Premiere and competitive in
yeah.
recent times. Well, I mean, when I do play, I basically only queue community maps at this
Mm-hmm.
point
That's
in
it.
time,
Oh.
or yeah, or play on community servers.
Do you use
But
Faceit for that? Because I've been wanting to do that for a while actually.
so I personally don't use Face. I used it a couple of times when matchmaking was down, but I just personally well, first of all, I have like an entire Discord server where we host playtests of custom maps, and
Mm-hmm.
that's like the main way how I get my feel of Counter-Strike, I would say. But
Okay.
also when I play, like when I want to play myself or with friends, where when there's no an active playtest going on, I would say Faceit is a great option. I recommend. I just personally like I personally am satisfied enough with the amount of maps that we currently get in competitive matchmaking. For example, if you remember the map Meals that was in the very first community maps
Yeah,
update for
I remember.
CS2. Yeah, so I had like over, I think, 100, 150 games on it. Like I remember I got a stat where it was like top 1% player on it. I really
Wow. A
went
lot
hard.
of
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
my friends hate mills, and I thought it was fine. I thought it was quite fun.
Yeah, I feel like yeah, definitely a lot of people dislike Mills, but I loved it personally, and more so like for the time that Mills was in game, I didn't play nearly anything else, and that kind of was also the same in CS:GO back when we used to get operations. Like when there's an operation with community maps, I would just entirely switch to community maps,
Mhm.
because yeah, once again, for me, I feel like the fun of a new map and new environment and new like situations, especially after I've been playing this game for like over 10 years, I feel like this is what works for me.
How many hours do you have in the game? This is just a random question.
Let's see. I have 5,000 and a half. Though I would say that easily like at least half of those are on the engine because it also runs through the
Yeah.
game's clients. Yeah, so
I have
yeah,
800, and about maybe 600 of those are probably probably Hammer at
that,
this, just from this project alone. It's been a lot. Um, I haven't
I'm
been playing Counter Strike
actually
for very long, so
I'm interested. How does Counter-Strike feel for someone who is new? Because like I literally only know like people who are like have been playing this game for like tens and tens of years. Like I was
um,
always imagining like how does it even feel to not have like this whole baggage with you when you try to play?
yeah. Well, I have a friend who's like a couple years younger than me, who's been playing for like as long as you have, um, like big TF2 fan
Yeah.
as well, just a massive Valve fan in general. Um, and they, after like 2 years of trying to negotiate with me, got me to play CS:GO. And I
Hmm.
think a week after the teasers for CS2 started, and then we sort of blinked, and we were in CS2. Um, Man, early CS2 was not fun. I
Yeah.
remember it took a lot of convincing to get me back in the game, and then I sort of found myself like being interested in the skins market for a while, and then on a pixel and all that stuff, and like watching Sparkles and all those people, and then yeah, just from that way, kind of drifted back into playing with my friends. I try and play every day. I've never played Premiere. I'm gonna start when season 3 starts, though. That's my
Yeah.
plan.
You know that is great because that's kind of a similar journey to what I have been through. Like when I started playing, like the competitive and the game mode seemed so scary, and I used to
Yeah.
play like arm race and deathmatch like all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was like there were like a couple of friends who are more experienced than you who like teach you the stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great back in the day. So I'm glad to hear that there's still like this like because that's something I wonder about because again like I would love to somehow bring back the feeling of like exploration
Mm.
and like this new like I don't know new shiny feeling of new game, something that I can put my time into. While now it feels more so like an old friend, which I respect a lot, but like it's a bit different.
Well, to
Uh,
to build on that as well, I think in recent months, like the last like 7 to 8, maybe, I don't remember how long it was. I Your map, when you first looked at the gray box maps, that was the first CS video I had watched in like 6 months. I
mm,
kind of fell off after the major when Spirit won. I kind of fell off after that, stopped caring for a while. Then I saw your video and I thought that was such an interesting idea, and like was watching it and was agreeing with a lot of your points. We could have a whole conversation about how Grail ended up. Um, that's like a
yeah.
that's I have so many opinions on that, because I had very different opinions to you at the time and as it went on, and now the map's out and I kind of hate it. But
Grail is definitely a very controversial
it
one.
is. But then after that, I started working on a map that isn't in the map list I showed you, because I never published it and I lost it by accident. Um,
Mm.
but it was this map. I had a map idea based on a science museum where a site would have been. Have you ever seen those like walk through the human body exhibits where
Oh,
like the
I've been at one of those. I think in London actually,
Mm.
and
So
Yeah.
A site would have been the heart, the human heart, with the exhibit as the entry points and stuff, and B site would have been something else science related. And that part of the problem that it never happened was, one, I was brand new to Hammer, and two, I was like, I didn't know how to design a map. You could see that I had the like basic understanding that there should be a couple entrances, but man, a mess, total mess. But
Yeah. But
after giving up on that, it's kind of trailed off again. Then you made your part two, and I got right back on the wagon.
well, I'm glad I can inspire people so much. That's honestly amazing to hear. Because like I'm not even sure myself what was like my motivation exactly when when making that video, because I just felt that was like I never I basically like it was I think I was making it more so to just like give feedback to the map makers and not necessarily make it entertaining for
Mm,
people from the outside, but it ended up being like very much that. So that was kind of maybe a bit unexpected, but I'm really glad that it ended up being that, and that I feel like inspiring new people is maybe even more important than giving feedback to existing mappers uh,
that's
at
really
this
good.
point.
All right.
Yeah.
God, where are we in the list? We've been
Yeah,
so
we kind of hopped
yeah.
around.
We did hop around a little, but that's good. I'm excited. I think at this rate, I'm gonna like have little tidbits of the interviews in at the end of the video. That's because I want it to have this sort of cyclical thing with the script. Because I mention all the people I'm interviewing very early in the video, being like, I don't want to gatekeep where I got my inspiration from, all that stuff. So I mention you all, and then the end of the video is gonna be me talking to you all. Um, but
Yeah, gotcha.
I may like put up the full interviews with like little bits of editing, just cutting out
Yeah,
some of the dead
yeah.
space on like unlisted.
I'm all for it. Yeah, sounds amazing.
Okay.
That's
Um.
that's the same thing I do when I interview
Okay.
someone.
Nice. Okay. So question 5. Here we are. So you're working on a map for the Lenmo contest called Bergane right now. Um.
Yeah.
I know it's still relatively early. You're working out the layout still. You've got a little bit of a you've got a vibe going more than anything. It's like the place and the vibe. Um, what is the biggest hurdle you've had in that production so far?
Well, I think. Well, first of all, I would say that I don't think I have any huge hurdles.
That's
It
good.
has been going very smooth in comparison to some other projects that I've worked on.
Mm-hmm.
I think uh, well, the biggest hurdle that I will face eventually is detailing it, because once again, I'm not good at it at all, and I think I'll actually keep it like as a gray box,
Mm-hmm.
or and I will like maybe just pray that someone who actually is good at detailing will come along and detail it, because
Yeah, that's
I,
about the same approach I was
yeah.
thinking of.
Yeah, because it's like kind of it's trying to get your map detailed. It's kind of like a dating app, I would say, because there's like 90% level designers, 10% environment artists,
Yeah,
and you need like to grab their attention with like a good opener and a promising
yeah.
layout, and like show them that you have a future together. But yeah, so that would be a big
Okay.
issue. And of course, there's also like a smaller hurdle that I sort of already overcame. Mostly is that there are like certain, I mentioned in the video, like the upper part of the map has like certain issues with players not really liking it.
Yeah.
And I did put in some steps to address it. Still some players don't like it, but as I look at it at this point, is like I think Freaklix Philip also came up with that what do you call it, with that example or whatever. I forgot the name, where basically you try to put a blanket over a sphere and like it's
Yeah.
smooth and nice everywhere, but there's one point where you need to tie it all together and it looks really messy. And that's kind of the same with level design, where you can design it very well everywhere, but there's this one part where you just had to make it like botch it, just
Mm-hmm.
so everything else makes sense.
And at the
So
same
that's how I look at it.
on the same side of that coin as well, it's like not everyone is gonna like the map because even if it is a really good layout, there are plenty of maps with great layouts that people still don't like. Mills is one of them. um
Yeah,
like
definitely.
I know
Yeah.
people that hate Memento, I know people that hate Assembly. I love both of them. It's just
Yeah.
like it's just down to taste at the end of the day, and how you want to play and what kind of people you want to face sometimes.
Yeah, of course, you will never please everyone,
No.
but something that you still should try to do is to like, even though you can't please everyone, you can try to make it the least
Yeah.
offensive it can be to the
Appeal to
people
as
that wouldn't
many.
like it. Yeah, even when you can't appeal, you can just make it the least annoying, so they would like they will still hate it, but make them hate it less. Like
Right. So on
yeah,
the topic of annoying, I'm gonna go over question 6 because I know that's a gray box. I mean, you kind of answered it, like keeping it in gray box.
yeah.
Um, I will ask quickly though, how long has that map taken, like roughly, if you had to guess the hours spent so far?
So the one I made for the competition,
Mhm.
I'm working on it at a very brisk pace because I feel like I just have a lot of experience, both in mapping, of course, and
Mhm.
also in limited time competitions. I also participate in game jams every year,
Right.
stuff like that. So that I feel like I'm quite good at time management and stuff like that.
Okay.
So if we're talking like just raw hours, I would say it may be I don't know, a week at most. Like yeah, I would say a week at most, if not even, well, maybe can go even down to like 3-4 days
Okay.
of just
Cool.
raw
Like
time,
pure
because
hours. Okay.
yeah, pure hours. Because yeah, I would say yeah, I didn't have like any problems where like I'm stuck at any point. I
Mm.
know what I'm doing. I'll go straight through it. Of course, there's still a lot of like thinking about it, but I can do it while I'm off working from the lab, like while I'm buying groceries, stuff like that. I'll think about the map. I'll
Yeah.
come home. I'll do all of the changes. I'm like, I really got it locked in. I think I'm working quite faster than maybe your average participant of the event, or maybe I'm just it's my hubris talking, and I'm actually
Mm.
slow in comparison to other people. I don't know, but that's how it feels.
That's good to hear because with my history with Hammer over these past couple months, because I started this project in like May, um, and I mean 3 maps, even if they're very unfinished, like I got Ecstasy's layout done in like 4 hours. Like because I do have a background in 3D, so I Hammer is actually really user friendly for a 3D user.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I adapted really quickly. Um, Anyway, on the topic of annoying stuff, what is a map making trope or like a common pitfall that really dampens your personal enjoyment of a map?
Yeah. So now here, I think we can do a little distinction.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of mentioned it before, but when it's a newer mapper, it's hard for me to find like something something I would hate about their map or
Okay.
find it annoying. Like even if a new mapper like has like super long ranges or
Mm-hmm.
super tight maps or whatever, like there's a bunch of possible issues. People really like to make their maps super sprawling and big, or some parts that I will even mention with your maps later down the line, like some
Mm-hmm.
stuff that we call like spaghetti design and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those, but I cannot have it in me to hate on them because that's just part of the learning process. Like you
Yes.
cannot make a good map without making a bunch of not good ones first. So that I honestly I can't really judge.
Okay.
But now on the finished maps, I think also something I already mentioned. The worst crime for me is being boring.
Yeah.
Once again, ancient, but also yeah, I just feel like at this point in time, even if you make like the coolest, the most beautiful map, whatever, if you just give it like the simplest like 3 lane layout, like I would still respect it, but
Yeah.
I would just like what like even though it's cool and it's a new community map, like why would I play this instead of playing like Mirage again
Yeah.
or
When
whatever?
you know all the call outs, you know all the angles, you don't have to spend all the time relearning and
Yeah,
yeah.
it just feels yeah. That's why I like Mills a lot
Mm-hmm.
because it's very similar to like a regular layout, but it adds like this one twist of having the horizontal like line in the mid and the bridge, and like that's just enough spice. Like that's I feel like how maps should be made,
Mm-hmm.
where it's close to classic design per se, but you need to add this little bit of spice because if it didn't have these features, like I wouldn't be inspired to play it, I would say.
Right.
So yeah, that
Okay.
would be my opinion on this.
Cool. I feel like you've already address this like in little tidbits throughout the interview, but if there was a more concise way to put it, what is like a crucial piece of advice you would give to someone wanting to start making maps?
Yeah. Also, I have honestly infinite advice. I
Mm-hmm.
can just keep yapping on it
Okay.
for for the whole day. I think my biggest advice, even not only for mapping, just for your whole life, is to not overscope things.
Mm-hmm.
Keep everything as much as small scope as you can, and if you're not sure, make it even smaller. What do I mean by that? It's for example when you go out to make a new map, it's very important what is your final goal.
Yeah.
So if your final goal, like if you make your first map and your final goal is to have like the best map in the world that is like added to the game,
Mhm.
then you're just bound to fail. So
Yeah.
you will just, yeah. But if you make a new map and your goal is, for example, is to have a, I don't know, complete 5v5 layout that is fun for me to play with my friends and is like clean yet not detailed,
Mhm.
that's it kind of sounds like a bit of a disappointing goal to have. But if you have this goal, you will achieve it. You will feel good
Yeah.
about yourself, and you will feel so much better about starting your next project. Uh,
I have
yeah,
in my first line of my script, my final goal is essentially I want to make a map that's fun, fair, and mostly finished, and that being a
yeah,
diffusal map. If I can make a wingman map along the way, that'd be really fun. But the end goal is a diffusal map that is decisively mine.
yeah.
That's
That's a great goal. Yeah, because when I started out mapping, like for some time I had my goal just to have fun, and that was
mhm.
great. I was having fun. But then during one of the first competitions I participated in, my goal was to like win the competition, get them up in game, and I failed so horribly, and it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. So that's not something. So it's great to have your goal be like have fun and make a fun map, and that is for yourself. Like you shouldn't at the end of the day, I think you should make maps for yourself and not really focus on like having it be having it receive any official
Yeah,
validation.
that'd be awesome.
Uh,
But like that's a cherry on top.
yeah,
That's a thing that comes with a lot of effort, and yeah, you got to understand that as a map maker.
yeah.
Not everyone can be FM Pwn on the first try.
Yeah, yeah. I've been mapping for years, and of course, some people are better, or some people get luckier and they get there faster, slower. Like I, for example, I think I'm so far away from that.
Mm.
But yeah, from what I know from people who did get there, it's like it's never on the first, never on the second, not on the fourth,
Mm-hmm.
not on the fifth. It requires years and years and years of experience to get there.
One thing, actually, this is just a little tangent, a little side thing. I've been thinking a lot about the current two maps in the comp pool, not including agency, because the new agency is really cool. I love it.
Yeah,
But Grail and Jura were literally the two maps I did not think were going to make it into the game, let alone as far as Grail did in the competition. And that comes from someone who did love Grail from the grey box all the way until release. I really liked the idea. I thought it was fun, but I was absolutely sure it would not win. I thought Golden would win. I thought Warden would win.
Canopy,
Yeah,
Warden, yeah.
Canopy. There were a lot of options. And Grail and Jura being the ones that ended up was really surprising, and I'm happy for them. And the maps are fun despite some of their drawbacks. Like they are still excellent maps, and they absolutely deserve to be in the game with all the effort that went in. I just think it's very interesting, and like that should also be an indicator to new map makers that like unexpected things happen all the time, so
Yeah,
you can't plan to always excel. Like I didn't get the following that I have from planning to blow up. It happened
yeah,
by
yeah. Of
accident
course.
every time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I agree with you on that. And but something I will mention about the Grail and Euro conversation that I think is missed, often like not mentioned, is that it's not that they are added and the other maps are not getting added. It's
Mm-hmm.
more so that they got added first.
Yeah.
Like the other maps still definitely have a good chance of seeing the light of day, and that's something we've seen with all of the previous competitions. That, for
Yeah.
example, I think the last one in 2019, the first place got in, and the same as Grail, and the other map was also like I think sixth or fourth,
Hmm.
and only like 6 months later, when there was the next map cycle, they added the second place, and so forth and so forth.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, so but that's so yeah, that's one of the signs. Definitely, Grail won very unexpectedly, and that's a big part of the whole mapping experience. Is that even when you're sure that you know of everything and you sussed everything out, and there's still a lot of unexpected stuff that can happen.
So
Uh,
cool.
yeah.
I really wonder what the voting ballot looked like for that, though. The what the distribution
Actually,
between the judges was.
I can tell you that from what I know, Grail actually like won pretty much last second.
Wow.
Basically, like there was only like 6 judges at that point, and every time a new judge submitted their votes, like the whole like scoring was completely jumbled, like shuffled in a new order. So what we get from this is that all of the judges disagreed with each other,
Mm.
and none of the judges had there was no consensus, and so
Mm.
that's one of the reasons why Grail winning is unexpected, but also makes sense because
Right.
all of the judges really liked different maps, and in the end, Grail wasn't anyone's favorite, but it was like the most on average appealing like second, third place that just got boosted because they didn't agree on anything else.
Huh.
Uh, so
That's
that
really
was
interesting,
interesting.
honestly.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, so I guess we'll get onto the topic of my maps that I've made so far. Um,
yeah. Let's do that.
so
Uh,
as all obviously the viewers have all the context on this because it's what the whole video is about. But yeah, Concave was a map that was designed like I was awake for like 16 hours looking for inspiration. I felt kind of like empty. I wasn't doing, I had just finished a really big project. Um, and I was very drained from that. And I kind of wanted to stay away from Lego for a little bit and let my body reset. And I was just like, I'm one of those people that gets really, really worked up when I don't have something to do with my time. Um, so I wanted to do something. So I designed this layout. I can look around and actually find the layout image for you as well and send it to you. What the original?
I'm on your map right now.
Mm.
Oh, if you're looking for the original,
I'll
yeah.
also show you the
Yeah,
original. But yeah, I'd love to see what you think
yeah.
works and what doesn't. But yeah, it was I designed the shape. I got on a call with my friends. They gave me a couple ideas. We decided, oh, it kind of the all the stairs on the map make in the actual map it's ramp. You're streaming Discord, by the way. Um there we go.
Yeah, but
Uh
I thought you were
mm.
going to show me the layout.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yes,
Yeah,
I will send it.
yeah,
Sorry, I will send it all over the place. um
yeah,
but yeah, I was like all the stairs, which currently are ramps because I didn't know how to do stairs
yeah.
and hammer yet. Remind us of like the Day of the Dead city in Coco. So we sort of went with this Mexican city type vibe, um, which is a little hard to pass, but I hope that some of it sort of shows through in the layout.
I can feel it definitely. I like all of the colors and like the shapes. That's something I can genuinely commend you on. Right of the rip, like I
Mm-hmm.
log in, everywhere I see is interesting shapes because usually first maps, I think it just shows that you have experience in 3D because usually
Yeah.
all first maps are like Minecraft, blocks here, blocks there. So you really did a good job of like using unusual angles. That's kind of I honestly at this point, I even kind of went back on this opinion. Like at this point, I kind of feel like having really complex shapes is like a flex more so than like a legitimate
Okay.
design choice. But I think here it works out really well in terms of like just giving them up like a unique feel, like this very organic feeling to it.
Right, so
Um,
just so you
yeah.
have context, this is the first ever draft of the map uh, in the chat
hmm
there. Um, and it's
I can see the resemblance.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was sort of racking my brain, like it's fun, but it's not fun enough. There's and I put this on the workshop, and so a really nice guy, I forget his username. I'll put it in the video.
Was it Naked Agent by any chance?
Probably.
Uh,
Um, and he gave me some really good feedback. He said like pushing, and obviously this layout is different, but the original layout there you can see pushing B is exhausting as a terrorist. It's a lot of work. Like no one wanted to go long. No one wanted to do any of that stuff. So I hit the drawing board and I went back and forth, and I was talking to my partner, and they sort of said to me, "It's because you're not thinking about it contextually. Like you don't have a design for this place. So like give every building a purpose and build the map around that, and then the paths will just show themselves." And I thought that's a really damn good idea. So went through again, like hit the from scratch, went through again and did this layout, which is the map, basically the map you're playing on right now. And it definitely is stronger overall, but it still does have some weaknesses for sure.
Yeah, so I can tell you right away that well, first of all, looking at the radar, even from the very first image you showed, um, so this type of design
Mm-hmm.
in general, this how would you describe it? It's like something we call like spaghetti design or
Yeah.
like spider legs design. It's basically when you have like a couple of areas that you were inspired for, and then you just connect everything with really long, sprawling
Yeah.
tunnel systems. And that is something that I think caused the problems you mentioned with people like not liking to push somewhere because it's just so long and you don't have much in between. But nonetheless, I think for like something that I respect so much is the unique shapes and the unique lanes and the that you played with verticality and all of that stuff, like some windows. Like I love to see
Yeah.
imaginative maps because people, when they make their first maps, they take it into one of two directions. They either make the most boring, generic, like boxy shape ever, or they make like a really just super impressive like art project that you just love to explore. And this is definitely the second type.
Okay.
I would imagine that that doesn't play the best, if from what I see, like from all of the angles being kind of weird.
I
But it's
played
definitely
I
yeah.
played a couple rounds with my friends. Like I think we were doing like a 2v1 situation, and I played a
Yeah.
lot with level 5 bots. And level 5 bots are not the smartest, but they at least kill you when they see you.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I noticed before the map layout redesign, they actually were very varied in their pushes, and the timings felt okay. But when I changed it and like added those little lanes, they literally never went B one time. They would always push through that town hall area on the other side of the map. They would always push that way. Both bots, my team and the other, they would just push right there towards that big monument there, and they would just feed each other. And then it would just be me and one bot every single time, and it drove me insane. And that was one of the things that made me give up. I was like, I don't want to figure that out right now. I'm feeling a little uninspired. I think.
Actually, you know why this happens with bots? It's because bots decide where do they want to go, not even based like on any random generation or anything like that. They decide based on what route is the least complicated. And I would imagine that because here it's mostly flat, like with a single ramp, but like mostly flat straight lines while going to B, even though it's like there's just like more turns and like elevation change and stuff like that, and how their like AI works is like they have like these little cubes on the ground that show them like nodes where to go. It's called the nav mesh. And
Yes.
basically, like because it's so because like here it's like more complex geometry, it gets broken into more and more smaller pieces. And bots are like when they see like when they have an option between one large chunk that they can go
Yeah.
for
If they
like
can
explore
just
for a bit, or a
go
lot of
up and
smaller
then
ones, they always prefer the like the long
okay,
straight chunk.
that's
So
good.
that wasn't even necessarily a problem with the map, and more so just
No.
the quirks of bot
Huh.
behavior.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I should if I ever come back to this map, I'm not sure. I'd like to. I do really like the layout overall. Um maybe I
Yeah.
can go into the mapping Discord and get some playtests done with some actual
Oh yeah,
players.
definitely.
Um
Yeah, even if you don't feel the most confident about your map, like just playing it with other people, even if they don't like it, but just having the experience of being on it with actual people will give you like a
mhm.
boost of confidence and motivation, in my opinion. Uh, yeah. So feel, I would
Okay,
say you should really feel
good.
free to request a playtest on any one of the
Okay.
playtesting
Damn it, I thought
servers.
I got the clipping brush down there. I guess I forgot. I think I probably stopped putting clipping brushes down before I finished
Uh,
this.
I thought this was intentional. This honestly I feel like can work with how crazy the rest of the map is,
True.
and like with like this whole situation right here as well.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I really appreciate the
Yeah.
feedback on this map.
Yeah. So yeah,
Um,
overall, if I can conclude, if we're
yeah.
finishing up on this map, I would say like once again for the first map, this is just great because again, it's not boring. Like for me personally, maybe some people will disagree with me and
Mm-hmm.
start like critiquing you here and there. Of course, and also very important to point out that I have no idea how this plays because I can look just like surface level on the maps
Yeah.
like for hours and still not even be like 50% familiar with how they actually play.
Yeah, those things really
Like
do reveal themselves like in a completely different
yeah,
context.
yeah. I would honestly like there are certain things that I already mentioned that you can more or less guess by looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say in general, as a rule of thumb, don't trust anyone's opinion unless they actually play them up with other
Okay.
people. But yeah, this is a great first map. Of course, there's
Okay.
some problems and that I mentioned, but I respect this one a lot.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Shall
yeah.
we move on to the second one?
Yes, let's go to ecstasy.
So,
Uh,
firstly, before we start, do you get the joke?
yeah, I'm not sure I got the joke.
Okay. It's set in London, and one of the sites is a nightclub. So
Okay,
Nice
okay,
to
yeah.
see.
No, yeah. So I like I would have gotten to it eventually.
uh,
I just I was thinking about the area with the lights more so as a bar
mm,
than a club, but
fair enough. Yeah,
uh yeah, I was kind of thinking imagining this more as a bar than like a
fair enough.
nightclub. But
That's a
yeah,
good point.
I get you. Yeah, maybe they do ecstasy in this bar. Who knows?
Yeah, who
But
knows? Anyone who
yeah,
likes having fun does it anywhere. So.
yeah. So here, right off the rip, even before you say, I was myself when exploring it, I was able to tell that, by looking at this, that it's based on on a real place.
Mhm.
And no, well, not on a real place, but like you came up with the setting
Yeah.
first before doing the layout. And here, if I am to say, there's still looking at the radar. There is still the what do you call
Spaghetti.
it, the spaghetti.
Yeah.
I would say that I'm it's still spaghetti, and the shapes are more like organized. I feel like, okay, I'll put it like this.
Mhm.
It is spaghetti, but also like on the other map. Remember that I mentioned I commended you on all of the shapes being very unique.
Yeah.
And
This
that's a
time I tried
double-edged
to.
sword. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a double-edged sword because unique shapes make your map feel unique, but also make players like more likely to get frustrated with the angles. While here,
Yeah.
because everything is square, it kind of makes it less interesting, but also it makes just players feel more comfortable playing around those. So that's like, so I would say, I'm not sure which one is better in that regard,
Hmm.
but I really like the sights on this one and how. Um, and like basically there's still a lot of great stuff about it. I would say
Hmm.
the spaghetti
Is
syndrome
a
is still
big
strong.
problem.
Yeah, big problem. And also the angles are quite long on this one.
To make
But
my approach a
yeah,
bit clearer on this,
yeah.
I wanted to make sure I was relying, and this is the same for hay fever as well. I wanted to make sure that I was relying on vertex snapping as little as possible for this one, and actually using the hammer units, like relying on
Mm,
those trusty shapes and like sizes. Because with concave, I didn't even know vertex, like I didn't know that there was grid snapping. I didn't realize that the brackets did that. So I was doing everything on like 2 units and just vertex snapping everything to my
yeah, yeah, yeah.
convenience, and that ended up with some really janky geometry. So I was trying. This one was more of approach of like trying to stick to legal geometry as much as possible.
Yeah, this definitely feels more like a Counter-Strike than the other one. Um, yeah. Well, I'm again hard for me to say without playing if this is an improvement in terms of how it plays, but you can definitely see like your progression and like your change in attitude towards how you were building this map. I was especially thinking when I first checked out that this area right here feels like super great. This I think you can just plop out, put in like an like in quote unquote like actual finished map,
Mm-hmm.
and this would I feel like this one is just great. I love, that's I think would be my biggest like complaint about the two maps we checked out so far
Mm-hmm.
is that I loved when you think of your lanes and areas and the maps more like areas rather than
Yeah.
corridors, if that makes sense. And what it comes with is that like having as many as possible purposes served in a single like area. So here
Mm-hmm.
it could have been just a straight tunnel and then another straight tunnel that goes here, but instead you combine them in this interesting shape, and that's what makes it so cool. And that what I would say like as the feedback for some other parts of your map. So
Mm-hmm. Cool.
for example, this is great again. This is like an area, while
Mm-hmm.
like this here, of course it makes sense because like this is a subway, but these here are tunnels, and like for
Yeah,
example, instead of maybe having these two separate ones, it would have been cool to have one big one that splits here in the end or something
that's
like that.
probably a
Like
good idea. Yeah.
yeah, so
Okay.
that's would be my biggest piece of feedback, but really cool. And I like how you went like maybe more ambitious and more imaginative with the beaming on this one. Like this is a really cool bomb site. This is not something you see every
Thank
day.
you.
So
I think that
yeah.
another problem I have is like differentiating, but wow, differentiating between footfall and pathing, because or like footfall and areas, because in my brain when I'm thinking like you might have seen Razzle Dazzle's like workshops on map layout and
Yeah,
stuff on
yeah,
YouTube.
yeah. He has a quite a unique style as well
He
to
does.
his maps. Yeah,
Um, and that was a big like him talking about like 2.5 entrances and all that stuff. But you know, when he draws those layouts, even though he starts out with just like basic lines, in my brain sometimes I forget that those lines don't like those can be broken up with props and not
Yeah.
buildings and not things that obscure your entire vision. Like, yeah, so that's what I mean when I say like I need to get better at, if I'm gonna limit footfall, it needs to feel reasonable, and otherwise I should just open spaces up and let the paths show themselves in different ways.
Yeah, and also something is I would say using more verticality. That's also something I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to be mentioning because like here you got some nice vertical areas, but for example, here like you have just like kind of weird block just for
Yeah,
blocking the vision, while you could have realistically achieved it by having like a unique like elevation change that the elevation is what obscures this side line instead of just a block. So
okay,
that's
that's a
also
good
something.
call. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you. Shall we discuss
yeah,
the final and my personal
yeah.
favorite so far map?
Let's
So
let's go to hay fever.
obviously we'll talk about the sketches at the end here, but so yeah, this was the first sketch of that handicap session that I did. Um,
Hmm.
and I really gravitated towards it. I gravitated to this one and the last one the most, but the last one didn't have any theme in my head. So I went for this one because I knew what I wanted out of it, both visually and layout wise. This one even has sound design, which is like the first time I've done that on a map so far. If you're near the tractor, you can hear it a bit more. Um,
Let's see. Oh yeah, I can hear it. Yep.
yeah, yeah,
All right.
any feedback would be
Uh,
great.
yeah. All right. So, well, first of all, it's very different because it's Wingman and
Mm-hmm.
not 5v5. So, Wingman, I feel like the biggest difference is that in Wingman, much more things can just like in kind of you can say in Wingman everything goes much more
Mm-hmm.
than in competitive maps because um how do I put it? Like I know, yeah, just in because I don't know what makes it like it's not that it's less competitive, it's still like can get pretty intense, but just like you have more room for error per se, or like nothing, it doesn't need to be as like polished and as like just precise. And so also because of that, it's kind of harder to judge because like I would look at, for example, this area and say this kind of looks weird for a 5v5 map, but on a Wingman kind of everything goes, so I'm not even sure if this is that bad.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, so my right of the rip, you can see that you improved with your angles. They're much more reasonably scaled, and like there's some areas that you want to play come if you play in close range. There are some areas that you want to hold if you're a long range player, some medium range. There's like a good variety in terms of that. So that is a big improvement because your last two maps felt very, very
Mm-hmm.
long range focused. Uh, and in general, like something that I was saying about lowering your scope, like this feels like such a more realistic Vim to pull off as a solo mapper, especially a new one. And like you kind of did it, like even though it's not like this structure isn't like a 3D
No,
model with
I
like
do have a 3D
8,000.
model in the new version
Yeah.
though.
All right. Well, basically, I'm just saying that in comparison to other maps where like I kind of need to guess at the end of the day what they're supposed to be, here like even at this state where like it's more or less basic shapes with textures, it gives a vibe. Like
Mhm.
I have a feeling I'm at a place somewhere. So also it's great in that regard.
That's
Now
really good.
my biggest complaint for this one would be once again areas, like making more so areas rather than tunnels.
Hmm.
Like for example, this I was interested by this shape right here, this hook shape,
Mm.
if you can call it that, because I feel like if you were to make a similar like what's its purpose basically? So these two paths both lead to the same place.
Yeah,
Realistically, its gameplay purpose is to split it for a long range pick and a short range pick to let players do that. And that can be done with like just a couple of crates here instead of this whole, uh, you know,
true. There is a lot of prop
core.
work.
Yeah. So and again, if for example this area or not even props but like by an elevation change, for example, if this
Mm.
area was higher, then you could have like sneaked below it and then picked close or like from far away you can see like higher above objects. There's a lot. Basically, what I'm saying is that once again, instead of this being a tunnel, it would have been just more interesting. Not necessarily would even like, I'm not saying that this necessarily plays bad, but it just would be more interesting, more exciting for players if this was like an area you can explore rather than a tunnel you go down.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
that's the vibe I would give. And also, yeah, just a little bit of even though it kind of maybe not fit for the theme of the map, but like just a little bit of verticality.
I have been
Not even
trying to figure that out, but it's
yeah. You know, I was watching someone stream when he was reviewing the contest maps. I think it was maybe James Bardolph or someone.
mm,
I don't remember. Anyway, they threw like a random comment from the chat. He read it, and it was kind of like an off remark, but for me it like made so much sense. Basically, they were on a map, and it had like it 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 had a lot of elevation, which like you go like a couple stairs up, you go a couple stairs down, you go a couple stairs up again. But like the elevation like wasn't key to the gameplay. It was just like a little bit there, a little bit there. And someone said that even though it doesn't affect gameplay, it just makes you feel like you're going places. And that I
okay.
think that had like a profound like effect on me. Where yeah, like even if this area doesn't necessarily require like an elevation to play better, just for example, if this whole spawn area was like 32 units higher, and then at some point you walked off, that just feels like you made more of a more like it
Okay.
like feels like 10% more like an adventure going through it than
Yeah, I'm
than
already
just
having ideas from you saying
uh,
that, so that's super good.
yeah.
Also, I'm gonna put a note in there. That light on the floor, I've already moved that. It was the worst mistake ever. Um, it had good intentions, but it didn't play fun. There's another light in that upper corner over there. And
Yeah, yeah.
playing near that one is way fairer because it casts a less harsh of a shadow. It's still a
You
little
know,
like punishing, but I think it's just maybe stop people camping there, or I don't know.
that's a very interesting way. I never ever even thought of balancing an area in a map using lights. I've seen
If you
it done a
stand on the
couple of
tractor
times.
as well, there's a reason the light is there. It's so that you cast a shadow if you're camping on the tractor.
I see. Okay, okay, so yeah, that is a great feature that actually makes a lot of sense. That is really cool. That you even think about these things. I wouldn't have considered this way of balancing this map. So and that's something great that like everyone has a unique approach. And also I think that makes sense because you started mapping with Source 2, because like in Source
Mhm.
1 this wasn't a thing, so I
Yeah.
haven't even considered it that much.
Like
Uh,
my one of my biggest philosophies working with this, and my friends have all agreed, like testing, because I mean I don't have enough friends to test 5v5 maps that play Counter-Strike, but I do have enough to test Wingman maps, and they all had a lot to say about this one, and being like almost every single game that they've played on this one they've almost tied, which I think is great, and I think that
yeah.
shows that there is some level of balance to this one that
What what
has
what
not
what
been
what did they
there.
say
So
in general?
I had some friends with like a lot of hours play it, and they they said a similar thing with verticality, but they liked the like basically what you said. They liked those long angles. They liked that the shadows actually impacted the gameplay and made you think about your positioning.
Hmm.
Um, they like that half of the map is kind of safe from those shadows because of the height of the hay bales, and it requires you to use your ears in some and your eyes in other places.
Yeah.
Um,
That's great that you're getting positive feedback, and I think one thing that I can say for sure, like just by looking at it, even without playing it, this like is the most like instantly likable map of yours. Because like the other two ones, even though I personally like and respect them a lot, like this one I can tell that like most people can see in this look, okay, I'll try this, like I'll play this. This looks like something I might want to play, while the other ones were like looked a bit rougher, like in that regard, like
mhm.
from the first like impression from looking like at a screenshot.
And I think
While
one of
here like
the
look,
yeah,
yeah,
I think
yeah,
one of the biggest things. Sorry, sorry,
that's why
the ping.
okay.
You go first.
All right, now I just want to add like even like looking at the radar just makes like looks a lot more substantial, like more like again an area rather than like a
Mhm.
bunch of corridors. Yeah,
And in my original sketch, which I mean you've seen, and we'll touch on those. None of those
yeah,
hay bales by the tractor were there. That was just something that came from like originally there was another block of hay bales like the stacks there, and it didn't look nice. And I wasn't actually planning for players to be able to go on the tractor. Like that's not a clipping area. You're supposed to be on there. But that was not the plan. And then when I tested it the first go around, I was like, that is too fun to remove.
Yeah, definitely. I can say also these hables, they are great in the fact that you could have put another like big stack like a wall like this, but they
Mm,
help again. Just this small difference makes it this whole area around them feel more like an area rather than two corridors split in between.
okay. I should use that
And
approach like a little bit more then probably. I could definitely
yeah,
sacrifice one of those weird stacks for like that paperclip stack that you pointed out. I could definitely change that up for some hay bales.
yeah. One thing also I'll add is that I see that you added color trims to differentiate them, and that's a neat idea. But it's also kind of like shows that this is kind of a crutch because like your
Mm,
maps areas are not distinguished like enough by themselves, so you had to add
right.
like
Okay,
extra
that's
stuff.
fair.
So
That's a fair critique.
how yeah. So how I was thinking about it, for example, what if like this is a hay bale that you go around? What if, for example, that this wooden wall, would have continued like straight, but there's like a cave inside of it or something like,
Mm,
or an like, or it overhangs and like there's
mm,
a wooden whatever. Like basically, that's also like an quite unique skill that you need to develop is that like making the areas feel different to each other while still keeping them on the same theme. So
okay.
like what can you add, for example, to this hallway right here, like with it, which is not just coloring the hables to make it feel different than this hallway right here, just at its core. Well,
Right.
for
Okay.
example,
That's very
if yeah,
inspiring.
if for example this here wasn't a high wall but like was a low fence with a view of a lake or whatever, like the
Hmm.
skybox
Or the
even,
field or yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they're just yeah, just even like this minor stuff. I feel like again, like I feel like people would have a much funner time calling out like, oh, there's one guy by the lake, then there's one guy by the pink
Yeah.
hay
Pinky
bales,
purple hay bale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, that's so good. Thank you. That's really, really
yeah.
helpful.
But the overall, this one, yes, clearly your best one so far. Just again from the first look, I'm not sure how it plays, but one also like there's this kind of thing, as I said, all wingman maps kind of play the same, and kind of everything goes
Hmm.
in some regard because there's just like less complexity than a 5v5 a map. So like it's I feel like it's easier to get them down. So maybe
Hmm.
it's so like maybe I'm biased. Basically, what I'm saying is that just wingman maps on average just look more pleasant than 5v5.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good. But I think
yeah,
overall that feedback is still going to help. Like the areas thing is something I wouldn't even considered. Um,
yeah. And that's just my feedback. I'm really interested to hear. Razel would definitely have a lot to say
yeah,
because he's like his mapping style is so different from most other mappers. Like I would say, my mapping style is maybe like more mostly like classic, not like classic like old maps, but like generally approved. While
mm.
Razel's maps are considered quite to be quite experimental most of the
His
time.
Lenmo submission is insane.
Yeah,
I can't
yeah,
wait to
yeah,
talk
yeah.
to him about it.
Yeah, and also I'm really interested about Jimwood and Angel because they're like infinitely more experienced than me, and I feel like their feedback can go even on like higher level than mine. So that would be
Yeah,
quite cool
that
to see what they
I'm
have to
so very
say.
excited, and
Yeah.
I'm also excited to speak to Angel and Jimwood because I have very different opinions about both of their maps that are currently in the pool. Um, like I
Wait,
I'm not the
Angel
biggest.
is Dogtown and
Yes, and
Jimwood
is brewery,
Brewer. Okay, I
and
forgot that Jimwood worked on Brewery.
I'm not a big brewery fan. And I'm a big Dogtown fan.
So I have this also. I have with Brewery. I feel like you know, I can I played more of Memento and Assembly, so I can say more about them. But I feel like it's kind of similar
Mm,
situation to Dogtown and Brewery, where I feel like tell me if you agree or not,
okay.
that when, for example, when first Memento and Assembly were added, it looked like clearly Memento is like the actual map right here, and Assembly is like something like fun on the side. But as I played them both more and more, I kind of gained more respect for Assembly because
Yeah.
even though it's not as you know it feels like kind of weird. It feels like a bunch of crates like in a warehouse. You know, it doesn't feel like that as serious per se. I actually started to appreciate like its apparent quote unquote simplicity and how different it makes me think about gameplay and stuff like that.
Mm. I
Even
think
though initially my gut reaction was to not like it.
yeah, I was similar. I was excited because I'm one of those I really just like maps as well. I just think they're really cool. So I was just super excited to see some like shiny, bright, interesting maps. Um And yeah, Memento is like, I really like Memento. I think it's super fun. I definitely miss assembly in the map pool way more. Like, I'm not like, I would constantly be queuing up uh Wingman. And then when they added Palais and I feel bad for not remembering, but I don't remember what the other map was. Um
Palais and the train station one.
oh, Whistle. Yeah,
Whistle, right?
both of them
Yeah,
again,
it
like
was it was the
gorgeous.
same story. Yeah, yeah.
But
And like I feel like that's kind of what Valve does on purpose, where they add like
mm,
one like bigger, more complex per se, like like hero map you can say, quote unquote,
mm,
and they add a simpler one where it's more sort of, and again, not simpler, not saying that Whistle is worse than Memento or worse than Palais, or that
yeah, they're just
Assembly is
not the
worse.
same.
Yeah, it's like
Like
different
nowhere
styles.
similar.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I feel about Brewery. Where Brewery, like my gut reaction looking at it, like, oh, this is boring. Like, what is it, just two
Mm.
hallways and a room? But honestly, like I feel like Brewery will be kind of similar to Assembly, where the more you play it, the more you will respect it.
Well,
Even
my
yeah,
plan tonight actually is to go with my friend and just do some queuing on Brewery and Dogtown and really hone in our
yeah,
opinions and see if, because my other friend, we were looking at the layouts and they had generally favored Dogtown, but I wonder if it will actually feel the same playing it um with them,
yeah,
because they're very particular
yeah,
as well.
yeah. Again, like it's I think this is something that Valve does intentionally for Wingman maps. I feel like there's like it's very hard to put into words, but there's like these two separate styles that we can distinguish, and they intentionally put two like opposing maps of opposing styles in a rotation. So yeah, that's very interesting to look at both of them in that regard.
Okay, very
Also,
cool.
yeah, also in case Tweenie, the creator of Memento, is watching this, then Memento is great and so much better than Assembly. I just I don't want to be assaulted later on basis of what I said today. Yep.
Memento is a great map. I know that
No, it is great. Yeah.
people have opinions on the like site and how open it is. Some of the wallbang spots are insane and weird, but overall, like, man, I miss those maps in the pool. And I don't think
Yeah, but
I've gravitated to Wingman as hard since they left.
I
But
think it's just the bias because they were the first
mm,
like community updates for CS2, so that's why they felt so good. I feel like
that's
in
true.
big part because like right now, like back then it was like a big thing, like oh, new community maps, while now it's like they replaced the community maps, so it's like a very different situation. I feel like in
There's
that
that
regard.
bias, yeah, recency
Yeah.
bias, but like in an opposite way where they don't actually like the recent thing.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, shall we move on quickly and go over
So
some
the
of the
sketches,
sketches?
yes.
Okay.
Uh,
Thank you so much for all that
right.
feedback. That is actually like so insanely helpful.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll get even more from people like Angel and Jimwood and Razzle. I feel like Razzle, when he like connects them up, he becomes a serious yapper. So then in a great way. Like
Mm,
so I feel like I maybe even like the lesser feedback that you're going to get.
still
Right.
helpful. So for timeline, it's not the biggest deal because most of these were done in like the same day, but those third and fourth ones are the first and second, and then it's first, second, third, I think, if you go in that order. Yeah. And then for some reason it goes to the front and that's fifth and sixth, and then seventh and eighth. Or can I count?
Wait. So
There's
it's
seven. Um
so it goes one, two,
one,
three,
two, three.
four.
No, one, two, three,
1, 2, 3,
four,
4,
five,
5,
six,
6,
seven.
7. All right, gotcha. Okay, so
So
this is the first one. This is hay fever. So you're looking just for general, just opinions on them.
yes. So hay fever
All
is
right.
quite similar.
Yeah, hay fever. Yeah, you can definitely see the pin clip and the side shape of the tractor and everything. Well, hay fever already told you what I think about it.
Yes.
Now, something that I'll tell in general about sketches is that I personally don't do sketches. And for example, Razzle is a big proponent of sketches.
Yeah.
I'm a big not opponent of sketches. Uh, I feel like one of the reasons that your maps had the quote unquote spaghetti feel and were quite flat is because you based them off sketches.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I never do. And like I'm a big no-no for sketches because once again, maps are 3D places. And
Yes.
even if you draw like the best 2D sketch ever, it's nothing in comparison to like actually thinking of it as a place. Like nowadays,
Okay.
if I'm creating a new map, like for example when I was creating Berghain, I like it instantly, like it has 2 layers and it's like stacked on top of each other. There was no realistic way I feel like to that I would have like imagined it as well if I try to draw it rather than just throwing blocks into the engine and like figuring it out from there. That's my like overall opinion. But of
Okay.
course, feel free to disagree with me. If sketches work for you, then go ahead, because I think many of the greatest maps we have today were based of sketches. And just
So
like my
you,
personal, yeah.
with you, when you're coming up with a layout, do you generally just like go in and like sort of
So I
block something out, or?
yeah, I would say my process is more like similar rather than drawing to carving. I would, for example, throw like a flat. Well, yeah, I would just throw a flat floor and like
Mm-hmm.
start just making it more and more and more complex, like giving it shape per se.
Mm-hmm.
And something that really helps with it is getting like and like an initial idea, a place idea, because it's very hard to do this
Yeah.
the way I'm doing it without. So for example, for Berghain, you can just look up pictures, Berghain, Berlin inside. There's very few, but you can find them. And like just okay, I looked at this. Okay, instantly,
Okay, I see.
without knowing the layout, I can just see that I like that there's this staircase. I'll
Yeah.
start with that. I'll make this staircase. I'll make some flat floor and like a big room. I'll put in the staircase and I'll see how it makes me feel. And then I
Okay.
saw it and like, okay, I feel like the T's should enter from there, and I feel like that there can be another entrance there, and it all like starts connecting.
Yeah.
Like that's how
Okay.
that's how I think about it.
That's
And you
definitely
can
an
do it kind
approach I'll try and
of
take in future.
yeah, you can do it kind of any place. Like you can I don't know look up London back alley, whatever. Just instantly you can like I don't know see a spot. Okay, so okay, maybe this is not the best picture, but whatever. Like I look at this image and I think, okay, people
Mm-hmm.
people can come up from here and they turn to the right. There's like go inside the house. There's some lane there, or maybe this blue door that stands out. It's openable and you go inside,
Right.
and there definitely is a balcony that players can be above. Like I don't need like the full image, but I
No.
just get this like in my mind,
Just
and
to
I
get
can
your brain whirring, yeah.
yeah, and I
Okay.
heard like for example some of my favorite maps. I interviewed their creators and they had a similar idea where they even visited the place in real life. They just kind of looked around and like some of the parts I'll make up, some of the parts I'll just take straight as they are, some of the parts I'll do a mix of both. And I feel like that's what gives me like the best results for me personally.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's so helpful.
So
Um,
this is
for
the second
example,
sketch.
yeah, that's the second one. I drew the bomb site shape because it was like ridiculously hot and I really wanted ice cream, so I drew a popsicle. And then my partner drew that little pathway right above with the walls and that squiggly line and was like, do everything else, do not erase this. And I was like, okay. Um,
So I can right away tell that this is one of my favorite ones of all of the sketches you have done.
okay.
Biggest thing about it is that it might not be the best playing, but uh, I'll be once again going back. It feels
Mm-hmm.
more like areas because I see there's an elevation going up to this like
Mm-hmm.
balcony. Like again, instead of you could have just put like a flat wall here, but the fact that you made it an elevation that breaks the sight line and like gives you gameplay opportunities, like coming up here, you would have a headshot angle because you're on a ramp
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. This already adds so much. And for example, this thin wall here, I imagine it wouldn't be like the full height of the building. So also even going down this like pathway wouldn't feel like you're in some kind of tunnel. It would feel like you're in an area, like you're
Yeah,
still in like
with
this
some
greater bomb
fences.
site area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just like how it makes me feel, like I feel like this is like an inspired area with like pathways around it rather than just like a mess of hallways.
My biggest
Or like
critique
yeah.
is that it's like outline wise, like total outline wise, is almost identical to Hay Fever. Like it's the exact same tropes.
Yeah,
Um,
actually, when I first looked at them, I thought they all were versions of Hay Fever. You kind of have like a similar theme going on between them, like in
that's
overall
really
like
good
design.
because that shows that I don't want to fall into a crutch. Like I'm happy to have my map isms, right? Because every mapper has like little quirks that they like to include
Yeah,
in maps. Um, but it's too early for that for me yet.
yeah. So if I am to mention something, is that well, One thing that I see also common theme in your layouts is that you have 3 full entrances for the terrorists,
Mm.
and well, I mean here it's more maybe a 2.5 because it's like a bridge type situation, and they both exit at a very similar spot. But that is something that can work, but like if you saw from a Razzle video or from mine, like usually the setup is you have one lane that goes directly to the side, so that would be it. One lane that goes to like an outside area, like near the side, that gives you like power, like it's the so-called power zone that gives you like a powerful position to shoot towards the side. But the third lane is oftentimes too much because you have only 2 cities, so it's kind of too much to expect them to hold three lanes at once. So usually a third lane is either a drop or a door, or for example, like how you did it here, that they're very close to one of the other lanes.
Right.
So like you don't need to pay full attention to it. You need to pay some attention to it, but like you kind of like
So
it's
like
less.
putting the bridge or turning the bridge into like a balcony you could drop down directly above the other lower entrance, or like
Like
close enough would
for
be.
for example here, I would say if maybe one of the options is that if you cut out this whole thing entirely and just have like the bridge be open, and so you can pick from either below or from the upper, that would be kind of like the classical wingman design version of this, because you have one entrance, the other entrance, and you have one like extra entrance, which is like again it shouldn't feel like an entirely new lane that cities need to defend, because then they have 3 lanes and it's kind of unreasonable, but it should feel like
Yeah.
an extra addition for like emergency situation or like weird like threats, so maybe that could be it, but once again I haven't played it, so I have no
Okay.
idea. Like
So also just for context, this is one of the ones where my partner drew the entire outline shape and
mhm.
said, put the blocks in, like put the paths in. And this is probably the biggest challenge of the maps.
I would say that uh, while I respect the limitation, I feel like it's kind of flawed, because also I feel like one way that helps you think of the map as areas rather than like what also can be called prop spam. Like
Yeah.
what do we call prop spam is when you have like a big open room, and instead of like again having areas in it, you just throw in random crates until it makes sense. That's
Yeah.
called prop spam, and that's kind of sort of what we have here. And I feel like while this limitation can be interesting, and I see that you got like a very interesting result here with it, I feel like it kind of maybe is too limiting in that regard, because there was no way that you would have uh, like it's hard for me to imagine how you would have carved this into an area rather than like once again just throwing crates inside the outline you were given.
Right.
Given.
Okay. Thank
Uh,
you. That's cool.
but I like this one a lot. I feel like this one does better because the last one had like again 1, 2, 3, 4 entrances, probably also like some sidelines like
Yeah.
this from
I could
that was
definitely
a
lose
lot.
some of those.
and and also like think that like this whole line has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 angles going through one single
Didn't even
sideline.
realize that.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like you usually like at most like mid on dust 2 like has like I think like 6 angles looking into it. That's like the most important, like biggest area of the map. Well,
Yeah.
well, here you have like a smaller map with only 2 players, and they have 8 angles. So that's kind of crazy.
Right. Okay.
Uh,
Then
if we go
back
to
to
the
yeah.
next one, yeah, um, let me think about this one. So here we're back to 3 lanes. Here, for example, if this one was a door,
Yeah.
or you can even have 2 options here. Maybe you can either have this one be a door. I'm not saying necessarily, but just again, like think of it as it is right now. You're a city. You have, for example, one player holding here, one player holding here. Who will hold here?
True.
That's the
Yeah.
issue. So so one thing that will help is that if this was a door, because I've seen some maps that do this, that where they have 2 paths around and one that is a door directly onto the side, and then one player could hold here, one player could hold here, and if you hear a door, then you know that they're the door. So it's kind of acts like the third player, like giving you the
Right. Like
information, but like
nuke rules,
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Okay.
Or alternatively, another interesting way that you could do it maybe is, for example, if this sideline was like opened up, so you
Yeah.
could look as a city from here, you can cover both of the entrances. So T's would have the option to smoke here and then get access to this powerful flank position. but like they don't get it for free. They don't get this extra entrance for
Yeah.
free. That's also another option to do it. But again, I'm
Okay.
talking generally. Once again, I
Yeah.
haven't played it, so maybe it does
Yeah.
turn out to play because I have no idea how it plays. But just from looking at it, that's what I would say. But here, I really like this type of power zone. I feel like maybe it could have even had like an actual angle into the side, even though I see that you put a wall here.
Mm,
I feel like
that
that could have
definitely
played
could.
interestingly because it's kind of so much out of the way. Like you need to like put a lot of effort to get here, then fight this like long range fight here,
And you have the
or the
risk
player
of being
here.
flanked as
Yeah,
well.
and then for what do you get for that? You get just an entrance that is arguably worse than the other one that you get pretty much for
True.
free.
Okay. That's a good.
But if this was
That's a good
an
one.
open sideline, that would have changed it a lot. That would have made like you did put a lot of effort to fight this whole fight to get here, but now you have completely like free reign on the whole of the bomb site. So I feel like that could have been an interesting dynamic in
Cool.
that regard. So now this one. Okay, right. Oh yeah, right off the bat, this all represents the lanes. I think nearly perfectly, because again, one lane directly to the side, one lane to a powerful off angle, and one bonus, which
Mhm.
kinda like you have to drop from it to do
Yeah.
any damage, or at least like if I imagine it like because you can jump off, you will be spotted also by any players around if you try to cross to behind city spawn. So I feel like in that regard, this is one of the. Wait, is this an underground tunnel or an
It could be a
overground?
tunnel or an over. I'm
Okay, so
really
I was
not
thinking
sure.
this in terms of a bridge over, but actually it can even work as a tunnel under, honestly. But yeah, basically like the fact that this is like an extra path, which is like you're super exposed. Like if it's a bridge, then exiting here, you're exposed to everything around you.
True.
So, or if it's a tunnel, then you need to spend a lot of time to get this flank.
Yeah,
So
you
once
got to be
again, the fact
quiet,
that
waste time
yeah,
moving. So
yeah, so there's like two main paths, which like again one to the side if you want to rush it, one off angle if you want to hold it or like take control, and this one extra again just like for spice, like it's like an extra
yeah,
option in emergency situations or like if you want to try something. So
that's
that I
definitely
think is
the
one of the
and a
greatest
half.
ones.
That's definitely the and a
Yeah,
half that Razzle talks about showing in
yeah,
that one.
yeah. Exactly. And I like the unique side shape. The T area feels a bit like prop spam again, because I'm not really
Yeah.
sure what is the purpose
Me neither.
yeah, because like it seems that all of the action will be just going from here forward. So it doesn't really seem like
Yeah, it's kind of arbitrary.
there's much. Yeah. But this is also one of my favorite, maybe even my favorite one, actually
Okay.
out of all of them so far. And now we go to here.
Yep.
Um, well, here, okay, here it's new. I like what is here. So once again, you kind of have a path directly onto the side.
Mm-hmm.
You have a path like to a powerful side area. I feel like this can be actually interesting how it plays out. And I imagine that if you're a city, like playing somewhere back here, you could see in theory players crossing into the side lane, so it can work like as an and a half. So even though there's kind of like a lot of ways to play around this area, you can still like have a lot of control as a city just by looking down this lane. What I also I'm not really sure. Again, have no idea how it would play out, but also I see that you have some verticality again, so that's
Mm.
also great. Even though this one, I imagine, wouldn't affect the gameplay too much.
No.
Again, just it will make players feel like you're going on an adventure. Like I'm actually getting somewhere instead of just walking along a flat plane. And yeah, this one like to me looks like I see it, and I don't know how to describe it. Like this to me feels like it's like a top of an oil rig, like or something like.
An
So
oil
I
rig
imagine this
was an
at
idea I had for a map, so maybe I'll use
yeah.
this layout.
Yeah, this looks to me like this is the main platform. There's like a helipad that goes off the side or whatever, and these are all like crates spammed around, whatever. Um, and like I can see this being a map definitely. Again, would need a lot of playtesting and cleaning up, but
Yeah, of
I can
course.
see a merit in this one.
Okay.
And this one is the final one.
Uh-huh.
All right. And mm, well, here it's also interesting because I see here's like what I imagine the gimmick
Mm-hmm.
would be is that as a CT, if you play here or as a T that you play here, you cut the entire map in half. So that would be like the most
Yes.
iconic. You can say like the most distinguishing part of it. kind of hard for me to tell. I like, actually, you know what this reminds me of a lot? I think you haven't played Canals. It's an old map that
No,
we had
I've
in
I've seen it,
CS:GO.
but never played
Yeah,
it.
so the
Oh wow,
approach to
yeah.
A site is very similar to kind of what you have here. So like
Oh
how
yeah.
they have one entrance like this, one entrance like this. Check this out.
Oh
It's kind of very similar to how you get to A
wow, I'm a
site there.
fraud.
No, happens a lot actually. Um, yeah, but I think this can. I liked how it played on
Hmm.
Canals mostly. Canals is a very weird map. People will disagree with me, but I kind of liked how it played. In that regard, it also had like this long sideline going off like
Hmm.
this. Actually, was so if I'm comparing it to the dynamic, taking the Canals kind of A side general style and making it into wingman can be a very interesting thing. So
Okay.
I'm all for it. But yeah, I'm not sure. Like again, no idea how it plays. But from the ones that I've seen so far, which ones? This one
Mm-hmm.
and the one with the bridge slash underpass. Yeah, these two were my favorites. And
Okay.
and this one I think can be great as well. But yeah,
Okay.
these are my top three.
Thank you. I really do like the critique about sketching, and I like that it's different from Razzle's approach. I'm so excited to talk to him, but
Yeah.
it's my biggest problem, I think, as well, when it comes to translating any of these designs over to Hammer is scale. I really struggle getting the player scale right.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of my pathing, even in my like layout drawings that I put in chat, like my paths are just thick. They're just very thick. Um,
Yeah.
and when it translates, like I could be. I think I was scared of embracing that because I wasn't thinking about areas. But if I'm thinking about areas again, it comes down to like they can be thick because that's footfall. At the end of the day, if the path is still to the site, it still works in that way. So I'm definitely gonna take that on.
Yeah, that's also another thing that I critique about sketches is that they don't tell you anything about the scale. Well, actually,
No.
like when you're mapping, like I'll put on a flat plane and then I'll put a bunch of player spawns and I'll compare everything, like a scale of everything against the player spawns.
Mm-hmm.
Like how they
Right.
like the size. I mean, like how the players look in comparison to the environment. So like that's really
Okay.
important for me.
You can
Yeah.
stop screen sharing and we can wrap this up.
Yeah. All
So
right.
my my long term plan, whenever it is, like I said, is to make a diffusal map that is fun and fair and playable and mostly finished. And the the way that I said I'm doing it is I'm ending this video with interviews, and I'm hoping that whenever the map is done, I can call you back and show you whatever the final product
Oh,
is. And
yeah. I'd
if
love to see it. Yeah.
okay, great. And my last question then is, do you have anything to promote?
So I'll promote first of all, if you do finish this map or get it like into
Mm-hmm.
a state that you want it to be played, first of all, get on mapping. It's our
Mm-hmm.
Discord server where we play test custom maps. So yeah, I think that would be a great experience for you to get 10 players who are unfamiliar with who are you and like have no biases at all to check it out and give you
Mm-hmm.
some feedback. And so I'll promote the Discord, and of course also subscribe to me on YouTube, T2MURE, if you are interested in videos about mapping or level design.
Great, thank you
And
so
yeah,
much.
that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I love to yap about mapping stuff.
Yeah.